I sort of didn't come prepared. What an idiot. I should have put on reflection, I should have put a couple of torches in my bag, right? But I better go for a wee before it gets dark, so I'm not trying to find the bathroom at silly o'clock.
I'm Stacey Dooley.
Hi, Stacey!
And I'm packing my bags for some more sleepovers. I'll be coming out of my comfort zone.
Imagine if I fall to my death in Scotland.
To spend the weekend in the homes of Britain's more extraordinary families.
You lead! I follow.
You've likened feminism to cancer. This is Hebrew. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Imagine owning an island. Do you worry about having a criminal record? My name is Stacey.
Ready, go!
What's the best thing about being a model?
The money.
Pumas don't belong in the UK. Oh my God! I really didn't anticipate this.
I'm travelling further than ever before on this series to stay with a family who have chosen to live off-grid on a remote island off the Scottish coast.
We are on the outskirts of Glasgow, but we're not staying here. We have got quite the journey.
Having travelled 12 hours from London, I'm now heading north towards the Isle of Mull.
Hello. All right.
From here, I need to charter a boat to one of Britain's remotest islands.
It's incredible. So the island, I'm told, is super basic. There's no mains electricity, there's no hot water. I sort of love experiencing these kinds of environments for a short period of time. I couldn't live off-grid in a million years because I'm so lazy and I'm just so used to being brought up in the city. You know, if you're hungry, you go down the street and have your dinner in a restaurant, you know what I mean? But I really respect people that are much more resourceful and try and live off the land. Like, I think if we were all a bit more like that, that would probably be a massive plus. Imagine owning an island. One day. Thank you, thank you.
Despite some reservations, I want to experience off-grid life and find out what's at stake when choosing such an extreme lifestyle.
Hi. What an entrance.
Hey,
Brilliant.
you want a hand?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so
Well
much.
done.
Thanks ever so much for your help.
It's extremely slippery.
Okay, I mustn't fall over, that'd be really embarrassing. I'll look like such a city girl if the first thing I do is fall over. So who lives on the island?
Blue,
Uh-huh,
Savannah,
uh-huh.
Rock,
All do pointing.
lots of deer, lots of seals,
I should...
Eagles.
sea eagles,
Are the
otters.
wild goats still here? Yeah.
Yeah.
I should rephrase the question. How many humans live on this island?
Humans.
There are seven.
Seven.
Yeah.
Another family of 3 and a solitary sheep farmer also inhabit the 2-mile square island.
Despite my ridiculous appearance, I'm actually quite well travelled. But you don't have Wi-Fi here.
We have mobile data.
Oh, okay.
You don't get it everywhere. You just have to walk kind of 5 minutes from the house.
When I first came to live here, you actually couldn't communicate with the outside world for long periods.
I'd find that quite difficult and quite scary.
Yeah, with hindsight, it maybe was a bit risky.
So you've lived here for 30 years, Roc?
Yeah, it's I think 29 years, I think. But the moment I got here, I just thought it was incredible.
62-year-old single-parent Roc bought the island of Gometra in the mid-90s with the idea of preserving the land in its natural state. Of the 3 homes on the island, the family live in the largest.
Oh, my goodness. This is so idyllic.
Built in the 1800s, Gometra House came close to collapsing before Roc bought the place in 1992 and started refurbishment.
This house is enormous. So this is the living room. Oh, wow. Look at that view.
This is the library. Which we use as a larder. So this is where we keep our food.
This house is my dream home.
This is the downstairs bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Although bursting with character, mod cons are not included.
This is a solar lamp. So if you leave it on the windowsill, it'll charge during the day. And then if you want to read or anything in the evening, you can use that.
Oh, that's right, because there's no light.
There's no light.
There's a no candles in bedroom rule as well.
Okay.
In case of fires.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I knew there wasn't going to be electricity, the lights, etc. But I sort of didn't come prepared. What an idiot! I should have put on reflection, I should have put a couple of torches in my bag, right? But so I'm going to be rattling around. I might not even have the light on my phone because I can't charge my phone. I better go for a wee before it gets dark. So I'm not trying to find the bathroom at silly o'clock.
Who wants to show Stacey how to do the bread? Or shall I do the grinding bits?
I'll do the grinding bit, you do the flour bit, the bread bit.
Flu's going to do the bread bit.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, I'm doing the grinding bit.
Okay.
With the nearest shop over 12 hours away, I'm keen to start learning how self-sufficient the family have become. Step 1 of living off-grid, bread making.
Okay, so this is our junior Wonder Mill,
Right,
and you put buckwheat in it,
right.
and then you grind. And it comes out, and it takes a minute, but you get good exercise.
Great. Great for the upper arms.
And then I'll just...
Look at her go.
And my keep.
There's the flour, which can go in the bowl.
Great.
You just pour that in the middle,
Yeah.
slowly,
Yeah.
and you stir it. Looking good, actually.
Yeah. I mean, do you try and sort of live off the land? Do you grow your own veg?
Yeah, we have a polytunnel. Dad's been getting really into the gardening.
If you put it over there,
Yeah.
where the sun can shine through the window, that'll keep it warm.
Aside from the daily grind of feeding themselves, I'm curious to discover what else Blue and Savannah get up to on the islands.
Wow. Oh my goodness. It is. It's incredible.
This is when I realised that off-grid can also mean off-piste.
Ooh. Oh shit, I've gone in.
Not, oh no!
No, it don't matter because they're really old.
Oh.
I can put in the machine. Oh. I don't know how I'm going to get back up. Imagine if I fall to my death.
You okay?
Yeah, all good.
Being a city girl, I'm clearly not as down with nature as the girls are.
You could come in like halfway.
I am such a wimp. Can't think of anything worse. You're a lunatic. I can't believe you're getting in that water. Is it freezing, Savannah? Yeah.
It's okay.
Imagine this being like your garden.
Growing up, Blue, Savannah and their brother Laser went to school in London, returning in school holidays to be with their dad. As adults, they've decided to once again make the islands their home.
Was there ever a kind of wild, natural place that you were very close to?
Not really. I mean, I used to go to, there was like an indoor pool in Hatton Regis. I mean, sort of growing up, when you spent sort of long periods of time here, just sort of paint the picture for me to describe to me what that was like.
I think it's a sort of, when we were younger,
You never wanted to leave.
we never ever wanted to leave. Dad always tells stories about that when we were
But
little.
like sitting down in the track or refusing to go on the boat.
When you're a young girl and you're living here and you're turning into a young woman, you know, we all sort of experiment with sort of cosmetics, hair dye, makeup, and then there's things like, of course, sanitary towels, Tampax, etc. How do you sort of navigate your way through that?
I use a menstrual cup.
I've never used one of these, but I've heard about them.
Yeah.
How does it work?
You've got a kind of rubber, like a rubber cup, and you fold it and sort of push it up into you, and it pops open and creates kind of suction, and then you empty it sort of every 8 hours. It's like origami.
Right.
I think it's a completely magical technology because they last for sort of 10 years or whatever.
I wonder as well, because you're not sort of bombarded with images of supposed perfection, if that means you're a lot more sort of comfy in your own skin.
I feel pretty comfy in my own skin.
I went through a stage when I was a teenager where I kind of felt like I sort of removed my leg hair some.
Yeah.
And
I experimented with it all, but I've very luckily not got...
Yeah, you're blonde. You don't have any body hair.
Also, my attitude is just like, I just don't think about it, and like then it doesn't bother me.
I mean, I'm pro everyone just kind of being able to be how they want to
Right,
be
yeah,
with
yeah,
their
yeah.
body.
Yeah,
Whatever that is for you.
yeah. Do you have dreams of like pursuing a career? Is that important to you?
I don't know, I think I'm just living like, you know, day to day at the moment and not really thinking about like the future because it scares me a lot.
The island seems to serve as a safe haven for the girls, but I'd like to find out what's worrying them about the outside world. I've travelled to a remote Scottish island
This one's gone a bit mad.
to try and find out why a family have chosen to live off-grid.
This feels a bit strange doing the washing up freezing cold water.
I'm trying my hardest to fit in.
Just stick your foot on this so it doesn't move.
All right, where are we going? This way.
Yeah, it's round the back.
Fab.
I'm keen to find out how Roc ended up living on the islands. He suggests we walk to the summit. Sounds easy enough.
Here, let's get your coat.
Oh,
There you are.
Roc. All the gear, no idea.
So it's up here.
Oh my God. Are we here?
Nearly.
I'm embarrassed, Roc, at how unfit I am.
I think you're really fit.
We made it, Roc. Is that you?
Oh, good question.
Oh my God, maybe I've got reception.
Maybe you're in reception, yeah.
Oh my word. My
Wow.
phone! Oh my word. Well, this is the spot to be if you ever need to make a phone call.
Yeah, you have to nip out for a quick call.
Oh.
Just nip up here.
How big is your island?
I've never measured it, actually, but I think it's about 2 miles going that way. And it's about 1 mile going that way.
2 by 1. How on earth do you buy an island?
So there are a few islands for sale, so I looked at a few of them. And this was at the bottom of my list, but this one was actually the one that really stole my heart. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to have some money so I could buy it.
Was it your money or inherited?
It was money, basically my grandfather was a farmer, and when he died, he left me a couple of farms.
Right.
I was really lucky, you know, I'm really conscious and very grateful for that. So I ended up selling those farms, and then with that money I bought this, basically.
Roc has worked in publishing, tourism and property, but has opted for a remarkably minimal lifestyle.
How do you earn a living?
But at the moment, I earn a bit of money from the farm here, so I can earn enough to keep this place going and have a bit of money for myself. And there's no electricity bill, there's no gas bill, there's no water rates, there's no buying petrol for a car. So actually, it's food, you're buying food, and then I'm not even travelling very much, so, you know, that was actually quite a big expense when I was travelling more, but...
Yeah, I need to be a bit more frugal. Actually, there's a lot
to be said, I think, by just sort of living by your means and just not being greedy.
Yeah, or do you need it? I think it's always the question, do you need it? So it's this way.
I'm starting to realise that living off-grid isn't just some trendy lifestyle statement. The family have huge concerns about climate change and take their carbon footprint very seriously.
Tea for anyone? Yeah?
I'll have a cup of tea, please, Roc. How do you make tea? How do you boil the water?
So normally we would have done it on this sort of gas cooker, and we're gradually switching over to this, which is alcohol.
Kettles are totally shocking with the...
What? Tell me. Oh no. Tell me about the kettle. Am I going to want to know?
How many times will you say about the water, Dad?
If you use gas, which like we're doing, to boil a kettle, 180,000 times that much heat heats up the world. So you get 1 unit of heat, and 180,000 times that is actually just goes into the world system.
Oh.
So you could boil... No.
Oh, she said, she's like, wait around do your tea, you're like... Can I say, Dad, that since you heard that fact, you haven't had a bath?
I remember when I heard it, I think it was the 7th of October, 2019.
You haven't had a bath for a year?
I haven't, because I heard that fact, and then I thought... and my water there was heated by gas, and I thought, I can't do it.
So do you have a shower?
I have had showers. I mean, I wash in cold water, basically. Like, the reality is we can't go on burning fossil fuels without frying everyone. And that's true. It's not an opinion. It's just true.
Fact.
Yeah. So that means we have to stop, which is, you know, and quite quickly, like maybe 5 years, which is really dramatic.
The family are under no illusions that simply living off-grid will solve the climate crisis.
So, are we ready?
Ready?
Yeah.
They believe far more direct action is needed. The Extinction Rebellion is a movement that organises non-violent, disruptive civil disobedience. They believe that without drastic change, we risk mass starvation on a global scale.
Society has to change in a very big way.
Roc is an XR representative, and both Blue and Savannah are active members.
So, Savannah is locked under the truck that's just behind me. Blue is on top of that scaff tower.
During the London protest in 2019, hundreds were arrested.
Is that you, Blue?
Yeah.
Is that the first time you've been arrested?
Yeah.
Blue, this looks terrifying.
Let's leave you the rice, because that's from yesterday. I just felt that
So we say grace.
Yes.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to try this bread now.
I actually think it's delicious.
That's fantastic. I think it's actually better than any we've made for the last week or so.
Definitely. No, it definitely is.
Having seen how passionately the family are fighting for their beliefs, I'm left wondering how far they're willing to go.
Blue, you're getting carried off by numerous police officers. That must have been, I mean, it's pretty full on.
Yeah, it was very traumatic for me. They basically were trying to intimidate me so that I would tell them who I was so that it would make it easier for them. And they sort of kept on telling me they were going to strip search me, and they wouldn't bring me any water. They disabled my call button so I couldn't ring for anyone. They wouldn't let me speak to my lawyer or my parents. And it was my 17th birthday.
You turned 17 in the cell.
In the cell, yeah.
When you found out all of this, Roc, how did you feel?
Yeah, I felt very upset. You know, I felt because I could pick up your trauma. And so I felt very upset about that.
What's the most extreme thing you've done, Roc?
I think I can't talk about the most extreme thing. My first experience of Extinction Rebellion, before it actually became Extinction Rebellion, was I saw this person had said on Twitter, I'm going to do some non-violent direct action, come and sit down in front of the traffic at Marble Arch. And we sat down in front of the traffic, maybe about 10 or 15 of us. The people got really, really angry. And someone came and kicked me in the face, basically. I was sitting down and they just kicked me in the face.
I had a very, very horrible experience. I delocked to 2 other people in the National Museum of Scotland on the evening that the annual Oil Club dinner was going to be hosted.
Like the locks that you use
For
bicycles on railings.
Yeah. The police used an angle grinder to remove the delocks from my neck. It was really, really scary because you had sparks hitting my neck and it was burning.
Do you worry about potentially having a criminal record and how that could affect you later down the line?
For me, it's more important to fight this fight and be doing whatever I can right now, rather than thinking, can I get a job in the future? Because if we lose, then why do I care about my job in the future?
Arguably, it's easier, not easy, it's easier to devote your life to a cause you fundamentally believe in if you have the luxury of being a white middle-class kid.
You know, I personally have the privilege to be able to be arrested for something that I believe in. And I think it's like, I feel like it's my responsibility to do whatever I can, maybe for people who can't do that.
So if you're saying that because we can, we shouldn't, I don't think that makes sense. I think because we can, we should.
I can't tell you how cold it is tonight. This is my bed set up.
They're trying to save the world. It's as straightforward as that. And I think you either sort of sit on the settee and, you know, when you watch a piece on the news, you say, oh God, isn't that awful? And then you go back to living your life, or you kind of take note and think, right, what can I do? If I was at home, I'd be on the sofa watching Netflix with a cup of tea, with the heating on.
It's Saturday, and my second day on the island.
Morning.
Hi, are you all right?
Yeah.
Like a baby. I slept so well. This looks really amazing.
I want to find out more about the kinds of activism the family are involved in and how it affects their lives.
Would you like cinnamon or sugar or
Oh, I love
salt?
cinnamon. Look
Cinnamon?
at
Add
this.
some salt or something.
18-year-old Blue was due to start her A-levels a year ago, but decided to go on strike from school in protest of the government's policies over climate change.
So at the minute, you've boycotted school.
Yeah, I'm on school strike. It's kind of, you know, it's for activism. I've said, like, I'm not going back to school until the government makes a commitment and sticks to it. And that hasn't happened yet.
Blue has not been idle with her time off.
So this is the entrance to the Denham Ford Protection Camp.
As well as writing a book about the climate crisis, she's been trying to stop the building of the HS2 high-speed railway.
That's my treehouse where
That's high.
It's really high. I'm in treehouse right now over the river. Here's our pee bottles.
Ugh, that's so gross.
Well, you know, like, there's nowhere to go.
If you're occupying those spaces, you're massively disruptive, which means they can't continue with the work that they've got planned.
Yeah. If we stay there and we have enough food and water and stuff, we could just stay there forever and they can never remove us.
What would you like to see happen? Like, what are you guys trying to achieve?
Just, they stop the project. It's going to cost so much money, like taxpayers' money that we need right now, like for COVID, for the NHS.
Have you got professionals kind of taking cases to the courts and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's
So it's like a two-pronged
multi-pronged
attack.
approach.
Yeah. I think we can win.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
Blue's brother Laser is currently disrupting another HS2 site and narrowly avoided serious injury during a recent eviction.
That's Laser, yeah.
He's about to fall off! He's going to fall off! What are you doing? Fuck!
Are you all right?
Wow. He's really lucky. That
He's
kind of
so
fall.
lucky.
Some people kind of label your movement, oh, you know, they don't really know what they're fighting for. They're sort of these liberal snowflakes, the millennials. Do you find that offensive, or do you sort of take that label and wear it with pride?
My affinity group in XR is actually called the Snowflakes. So we're sort of re-owning the word, taking it back. It's quite nice, like your special snowflake.
There are more offensive things to be called.
Yeah.
It is commendable, a lot of what they're doing. I think back to when I was 18. Luton and my gang and my existence was the centre of my universe. I couldn't care less what was going on further afield, and that's just not the case for these girls. Right, this is cold water. How often do you do a wash, Roc?
Maybe about once a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How long have you washed your clothes like this for?
Not sure when the washing machine broke down a long time ago. My very white legs.
Not me too.
For me, off-grid life seems quite daunting, but Roc seems to take it in his stride.
It's quite nice. It sort of makes it more fun if you go around in circles. Sometimes I go...
The island is easy to fall in love with.
Just be careful.
Yeah.
I will fish you out if you go in.
Well, you promise, yeah.
Despite no electricity, I'm surprised to discover Roc manages to keep in contact with the outside world, thanks to his solar-powered office.
So now, this is really wobbly.
Don't worry.
So just step on the middle of this one.
So this is all over 4G, you haven't got Wi-Fi?
No Wi-Fi. And this is all quite new. This was maybe about a year or 2 years. They built about 20 miles that way, there's an island called Col. And they built a radio mast there, and suddenly we had 4G, which was just completely strange for us. Hello, Clive.
Hi, Roc. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Hey, Rob. Hey, Sophie.
Hi, Stacey. Hi, Stacey. Hi, Roc. Hi, Clive.
Roc and his friends are planning protests for their newly founded group, Extinction Rebellion.
So we decided to plan an action targeting the International Maritime Organization to get ships off fossil fuels.
How nervous are you about the possibility of being arrested?
Well, I've been arrested before.
Have you got kids?
I've got 2 kids.
2 kids.
They're 14 and 12. I've always been very open with them about what I'm doing and about the climate crisis as well.
At 62, these days Roc is spending more time on the planning than the protesting. I'm curious if he thinks his children feel obliged to take his place on the front line.
Do you think they feel a level of kind of pressure to constantly be on the scene because you've done so well and you've been so vocal? Do you think the kids think, oh God, I don't want to let Dad down, I want to do him proud?
I know that they know what they're doing, and I know that they've chosen to do what they do. So my emotion isn't really worrying. It's sort of just being really, really proud of them for knowing what to do, knowing what they want. And this is stressful, but I'm also extremely proud, you know, and often I start crying, you know, so I try not to now. But I'm extremely proud of them, they're incredible.
What makes you so emotional?
They're just so courageous, you know. They're fighting this huge machine that is much stronger than them, and they're brave enough to do it, them and their friends, and that gives me hope.
Oh, Roc, what a softie. It's not usual for a parent to say they're bursting with pride because their kids are kind of aggravating the authorities or getting arrested. But it's sort of understandable in this case because he truly sort of lives and breathes activism. You know, inevitably I'm going to leave here and think more about how I travel, what I buy, what I consume. I think that's really healthy. This is so crazy beautiful.
This is our sort of our token tropical beach.
Blue and Savannah have clearly taken on board their father's concerns for the world and are following his example. But I just wonder, at what cost?
Girls have sort of touched on last night the emotional sort of turmoil that you experience when you start to understand the enormity of the situation. When did you start to really understand the severity and really feel like, do you know what, I have to dedicate a huge amount of my life to fight this?
I think there's a kind of fear that things will get much worse.
It's very selfish, but I wish that I didn't know about any of this.
There was an organisation called Birth Strike was started, which was people who were talking about the fact that they didn't feel safe bringing children into sorry. into the world that we've inherited. I kind of read through all this stuff, and it was a very strange feeling because it was a lot of things that I felt subconsciously sort of being echoed back to me. And I called Blue up, and I said, "Have you seen all this birth strike stuff?" And she said, "Yeah. You're not having children because of climate change, are you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And "You're not either, are you?" And she said, "Yeah." And it was something we'd both always known that we were never going to have children. We'd always spoken about that. And I think we maybe haven't even admitted to ourselves why. It was almost like everything coming together and being like, oh, the reason why is because we had this childhood where, that was really scary in a lot of ways.
For me, I would not want to be born into, my children's generation because of what's happening in the world, so I can't inflict that on another person.
And Dad is totally devastated by all of this because he believes really strongly that children are this good. Children are a force for good.
Your dad seems cautiously optimistic.
He's very optimistic.
Yeah. I don't envy them particularly. I think it was much simpler when I was growing up, for example. I actually think it's really brave and really honest of them to say, of course, I'm thinking I'm not going to have kids because I'm alarmed at the state of the world. And I think that gives you an idea of how massive this all feels to them on a day-to-day basis. Where's the washing line?
The washing line's just here.
Oh, perfect.
These are your long johns.
Those are my long johns. This is my top, which has seen better days slightly.
Oh, Roc. I'd offer to buy you a new one, but I know that's not really what you're after. I should just offer to mend that.
Yeah.
I do enjoy spending time with Roc. I wonder whether his fears about climate change have had adverse effects on daughters Blue and Savannah.
I get the impression that you felt
quite upset when the girls said, actually, at this moment, right now, we're thinking we don't want to have kids?
It's upsetting that that's the situation that's making people feel like that. It's for them, you know. I mean, for me, it'd be fantastic to have grandchildren, but it's for them to decide, it's not for me.
Do you ever worry that you've exposed them to too much? You've given them too much knowledge, and that has been detrimental to their happiness or their youth, their childhood?
I've always thought that trust is the most important thing between parents and children. You've got to tell the truth to people, even if it's hard. So the reality, it shouldn't be that hard. It doesn't need to be this hard truth that one's telling people. But given that it is, then I think they need to know, I'm afraid.
And does any part of you feel responsible when the girls are saying, at this moment, right now, I don't think I want to have kids?
Well, yeah, maybe. But I feel to have been dishonest just so they have kids would not be right. You know, it's not what I would want. I'm quite optimistic about the future in a way. I think we can change all this and we can make a lovely future for everyone. You know, that's what we need to do.
I love it when you say that, Roc, because it can all feel... You can think, oh, this is horrendous, we're all doomed, I'm full of despair, but then you always say, I am optimistic, I'm cautiously optimistic if it happens now.
Yeah.
So that sort of fills me back up with hope.
Climate change is a big worry. And I'm still not sure I've got what it takes to survive off-grid.
So, this is the marrow. Do you want to see if you can see a good one? It's a bit like sort of looking for Easter eggs.
This is a really embarrassing, ridiculous thing to say. I'm not entirely sure I know what a marrow looks like.
Oh, right. It's like a big courgette. What, can you see one?
There.
Oh, wow. You're a natural at finding them.
Got the size of it, Roc.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like it, actually. So you just chop it off at the end like a courgette.
Right, OK.
Brilliant.
Sebby.
Woo! It's a big old boy. This is like I carried a watermelon. That iconic scene.
Yeah.
In Dirty Dancing.
Oh, really?
Do you know what one I mean?
No, I don't.
No, I'll send you a clip.
Oh, I'd love to see.
Hey!
It feels like it needs a kind of a grand welcoming.
Let me blow the bugle, the marrow call.
I can't. Life on Gometra with Roc is infectious.
Thank you.
And I do wonder how different I'd be if I'd grown up on the islands.
I mean, this has obviously been an enormous part of your dad's life for decades. How much influence do you think he's had over you guys?
I think it's maybe less about how Dad's influenced us and more about the circumstances we've grown up in. We do very different things. So I first got involved when I was in Scotland, which had nothing to do with Dad. Blue got involved in the youth movement, which had nothing to do with Dad.
I think if I didn't have Dad or Mum as my parents, I'd definitely be an activist, I think.
I have an insight, which is that they are much better protesters than me.
Yeah?
And they've kind of completely left me behind. Which suggests to me that...
True.
Yeah, I think they have. And I think that suggests to me that it's not as if they are just following my lead, because they're way ahead of me.
What are your plans for the next couple of weeks?
I'm going to go back to the HS2 sites, because the winter's starting, so everyone's kind of leaving because it's cold, and so it needs people there.
To rev it back up?
Yeah.
Is something like the HS2, for example, is that worth dying for?
I don't think so.
What do you think, Roc?
I'd say it's worth risking your life for. Like, if you knew you were going to die, maybe you shouldn't. But to stick your neck out, yeah, it is worth it. You know, if you're really unlucky and you die, it was probably worth it in the fight.
If you truly, in your gut, believe that you are standing up for what is right, whether I agree with you or not, as long as you're not sort of inciting hatred or suppressing anyone, I think it's very commendable. You have to dedicate so much of your life for sometimes not very much.
So we've told you a little bit about Gometra Theatre Festival.
Not really.
So the spirit of Gometra Theatre Festival is that you can bring anything to the table. So people often write like 30 seconds plays, or they do a bit of singing, or whatever.
So am I about to perform for you all? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, what we were talking about is if we could have a mini Gometra Theatre Festival and we could all revive some of our plays for you.
Yes, that sounds like a much better idea.
I've got one. Look.
I've experienced a lot in my life, right? I've never in my life experienced anything quite like the Gometra Theatre Festival.
Oh, Blue.
Come give us a bow, Blue.
There's something really quite sweet about the three of them. They're quite a tight gang.
Hello, officer. Yes, I came home and there were 2 naked people in my polytunnel. Yes, it's where we went today to get the marrow.
I've got to say, that is one of the more surreal nights I've had. I am feeling very excited to go back to the mainland.
How do you smell?
I smell disgusting. I could have washed, but the water's freezing cold, so I'd rather just grin and bear it and wait until I can have a bath.
Hello.
Hiya.
Hello. I've come for the final cuppa, guys.
Really?
Really?
Oh,
Are you going to miss me, Roc?
very much.
I'm going to miss you.
Yeah, good. I think it's been really lovely, and so I'm really glad you came. It's been really amazing.
You have given me things to think about, you know? Maybe do a bit less of everything. Not be so greedy.
Cheers to that. My last cup of sage tea for a while, I suspect. Cheers, Roc. Thank you, Roc.
We're currently in the down shaft of the tunnel in Euston Square Gardens.
It's not trivial to solve this problem, but if we get it right, the future can be incredible for everyone. It can be just really beautiful.